Hello everyone, welcome to the Redmen TV. Ste and Chris here with the team news reaction show. Yeah, we're waiting for Liverpool's team to be announced ahead of Napoli versus the Reds. The Champions League is back, got underway last night of course with some really interesting games. Now it's the time for Liverpool to enter the fold as well, and we're almost getting used to Champions League football now, Chris. Like we had it for so long where we had never had it at all. Now it's become a regular occurrence for us, but it's still a very exciting part of the season. Champions League, away game against a very tough opposition. This is what Liverpool Football Club exists for, really. We had such a barren spell where we were not in anything, then we had that horrendous Europa League stuff, but this is what it's all about.
It is, and then you remember after the first couple of games that the group stages are pretty crap.
Yeah.
But this is the same every year. You get into it, it's like, come on, Champions League football, it's back, baby. And then you think about those European nights. The first home game for me, like, European nights at Anfield is not quite the same as when it's knockout footy.
No, absolutely not.
Obviously, it matters so much more. But it's interesting today, you know, Liverpool, Napoli, toughest game, I think, of the group for a start away from home. But also the fact that the Rangers-Ajax game's already off, and Ajax are absolutely hoofing them off the field at the moment. It's 3-0 to Ajax at half-time. So that is a bit mad. Was that a team out shout?
Yeah, already. Yeah, we thought it might be. Liverpool have gone... What a very strange time to put a team out. Are you sure? Liverpool's team is out. We'll bring them right. Fair enough. Like, that was very quick. I had loads more questions for you, Chris, but we'll have to crack on. So Chris is going to make his way over to the board, and I am going to read this Liverpool team out.
That's right, I've got it. I've got it, mate. I know it.
Go on then, you go.
From that one little look, I reckon, we've got all of that. So we've got Alisson Becker in goal, Andy Robertson, Virgil van Dijk. I think I saw Joe Gomez's name.
You did.
Trent Alexander-Arnold, Fabinho. Yeah. Definitely saw Harvey Elliott and Milner.
Yeah.
And I didn't actually look at the front three at all.
It's Diaz for Jota.
Sounds. That is much stronger than I think everybody...
Shall we see how your bench is getting on?
Yeah, let's shout it out.
Let's go. Adrian.
Yeah.
Davies.
Yeah.
Thiago.
Alcantara.
Jota.
Yeah.
Shimikas.
Yeah.
Nunes.
Go ahead.
Arta. Matip.
Yeah.
Bajcetic and Phillips.
Matip.
Oh.
Bajcetic and Nat Phillips.
Liverpool
only got 10. So that's what I said. I thought the Jürgen had only taken a 21-man squad.
There you go.
So the team in full to face Napoli this evening. Alisson Becker in goal, Andy Robertson, Virgil van Dijk, Joe Gomez, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Fabinho, James Milner in the middle of the park, Harvey Elliott, Luis Diaz, Mo Salah and Roberto Firmino in the number 9. First thoughts on that for me. That is a lot stronger than I expected him to go. The Fabinho, I did sort of, on the starting 11 prediction show yesterday, talk about the fact that I thought he would use him and run him into the ground. I wasn't really expecting Trent Alexander-Arnold to play in this game. I thought at some point he's going to have to give him a rest. Clearly that's not the case. James Milner starting probably an 8 there. There is that option as well, obviously, if you want to go a little bit more of an asymmetrical 3 in the middle, maybe a bit more 4-2-3-1-ish, but I don't think that will be the case. I do think it'll be Fabinho, Milner off to the left-hand side, Elliott off to the right-hand side, Mo Salah on the right. Luis Diaz, again, another player that I thought might be rested for this game, especially with Jota coming back, but maybe it's getting them a few minutes later on in the game, the likes of Jota and Nunes, and then get them in the game against Wolves at the weekend at Anfield. Obviously, we knew 2 goalkeepers were going to be on the bench. Thiago being on the bench is great news for us. Jota being on the bench, great news. Nunes, Arthur again, obviously. Matip, Bajcetic, Phillips. It's a pretty decent squad, and it's a side that I think when you put it all together and you look at that, and the bench is starting to get a bit stronger and stuff, Steve, this is a side that can go and actually get a result in Napoli. And I say result because a result here is a good one, whether that be a draw or a win.
Yeah, mate, come back over and we'll have a big old discussion about it. Again, if you're watching live, of course, head to the YouTube live chat, let us know your thoughts. If you're Redmen plus Club Legend, you guys can use the Discord. Speaking of which, Abe's in there right now. Milner was nailed on to play, no surprises, and then he contradicts himself. Actually, I'm surprised that Trent isn't rested. SN reckons that Kostas deserves to play, and yeah, 3 changes then really, Chris, isn't it, from the derby? So Robbo, Milner and Bobby Firmino come back in. Tsimikas, Carvalho and Darwin Núñez goes out. And of course, Thiago's on the bench as well. Let's start with the The general sense of it really is, and I know we were discussing a couple of days ago, and then you did the team news the starting 11 prediction show rather, and you thought Jürgen was going to rest a couple. He hasn't rested anybody really.
No.
There's no rest. I mean, maybe Darwin Núñez. I don't know if you call that resting. I'm not sure what his options there. But yeah, he's gone pretty much bang at it really.
Yeah, it's as strong a side as I think he can put out. But right now, I think I sort of knew that Núñez wasn't going to start because he played basically 70 minutes in the derby.
Yeah.
And he might be sort of just getting him into that rhythm of getting Premier League football as well. Like we know that he's had Champions League experience. So maybe if it's now 2 games a week and stuff like that, and Núñez becomes the Premier League striker, he gets to go up against those fellas, gets to pit himself in that league and learn more about the Premier League. Obviously, having missed 3 weeks of it, he's not that experienced. So that's probably a good thing from Jürgen for him to have done something like that. I think the big thing here is that where are these lads going to get rest? Are these other lads coming back soon enough such that Trent, is Ramsey close enough that maybe soon he's going to have to rest him? Because it could have been a quite easy one to put Matip in at centre half here and throw Gomez on at right back if
especially
you wanted to rest him.
Is it Kvarat, who's that's I'm going to go for? I can't say his full name for them. He's their left winger. He's their best player. If he wanted to go more defensively sound, I thought that's what he was going to do. To be honest, I'm with you. I'm quite shocked at how strong he's gone, but Jürgen tends to do this. I remember in times gone by.
Not in the Champions League, but this was where I was coming on to. In the group stages of the Champions League, normally he rests loads of players, rotates loads, but this is our hardest game in the Champions League, so maybe it's just, hang on, respect where it's due. We know how difficult this game is going to be against Napoli tonight. Put the strongest side out. The other 5 games, if you get a result here, the other 5 games are a lot easier to manage a squad in.
And we saw last year the benefits of having 2 meaningless games at the end. Essentially, Liverpool won the group after 4 games by blitzing everybody, and then they played Porto at home and they could play who they wanted, and they went to Milan with essentially a B team, almost give or take. So that's I agree, is that maybe he's thinking actually we get this done, and then those games near the end of the group where again when Napoli come to Liverpool, obviously and we go to Ajax, try and make those almost dead rubbers. I'm with you, mate. And especially the fact, again, Liverpool wouldn't have knew this obviously when the team was announced, but like the fact that Ajax are snotting Rangers everywhere, I always think if you can win your game and someone else wins a game, that it's
a gap already, isn't it?
The 3-3-0-0 on the table makes things look a whole lot better. So yeah, I'm with you again. And obviously our next game is Ajax at home. You win that one, all of a sudden you're cooking with gas. So maybe that is what it is. Shay in the comments here says that midfield just doesn't work. I think the balance of that midfield might actually be better than the midfield that starts the derby. I was all for Carvalho and Elliott starting the derby together. In hindsight, it didn't really work that well. I think the balance is about right. I think the general consensus is a lot of people just think James Milner's shit. I disagree with that, to be honest with you. I think that's a bit disrespectful. I don't think he's been in great form. I don't think Fabinho's been in great form this season either, which has been a problem. But to say that doesn't work, I can see the balance of that side. Whether they play well is a different matter, but I don't look at that and think that it's just an absolute shambles.
Look, I might be showing my age here, but I like to judge a unit after I've seen them for 10 games. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not making a judgment call on whether I think Elliott and Carvalho can play together in the midfield in a derby where it's Carvalho's first start for Liverpool Football Club away from home in a derby. Like, you can't judge that midfield after one game for me. And the same with Milner, Fabinho, Elliott. I mean, how many times have they actually played together? Is it less than 5? Should you really be judging a team that isn't, and how well they gel together when the front 3 aren't performing particularly well this season either? So it's hard to look at one area of the team for me and go, look, the midfield, I've not been enamoured with the midfield so far this season. Don't think anybody has been in any of the games bar Bournemouth, where you think, you know what, that's our fucking nailed on midfield there. But then equally, I've not really been enamoured with the front 3 apart from in Bournemouth. And, I think probably the best defender so far that I've seen, or at least a couple of defensive performances back to back, has been Joe Gomez. I've quite liked his performances. Yeah, has Trent been playing as well as he can last season? Has Andy Robertson been producing as well as he can? No. So how can you judge when they're all not really at it? Like, and maybe the comments is right here. Maybe if you tweak that, everything else falls into place. I don't really see that's happening either. I think there's a lot of tired lads who aren't in good form at the moment, and we're trying to do something tactically that they're having to think about. And when you're having to think on the football field, I think you lose a couple of seconds and the other team gets an advantage on you.
Yeah. Well, I tend to agree, and also, mate, like what is interesting is that the bench is starting to look a bit stronger.
Yes.
Thiago's on the bench, Jota's on the bench, Nunes is on the bench, Matip's on the bench. I understand there are still a couple of issues, like but ideally you don't want Bajcetic and Phillips on your Champions League bench, so it's not perfect. Obviously, we still got the Jones. There's 8 lads who basically haven't travelled, isn't he? But and again, of course, we'll see how fit Arthur is. Jürgen's basically said he's not fit enough to play a whole game, but he's fit enough to get some minutes. But in Thiago, Jota, Kostas, Nunes, Arta and Matip, any 5 of those 6 are first team decent squad players in theory. It's starting to, you're not relying on kids. He can make 5 actual subs. We're bringing 5 actual footballers.
I think of the last few games, I think you'll agree with this, you could probably pick the 3 lads that might get used from the subs bench, and there was 6 there for filler, and that was it. We're now in a state where there's more than 3 lads that you can use. They've got a genuine choice there. As you say, Thiago, Jota, Tsimikas, Nunes, Matip, Arta, that's one more than the subs you're allowed for a start.
One of them isn't,
which is brilliant. Yeah. That's exactly what we've needed. You know, every manager we look at it, right, that's the side, and Kostas is going to probably come on at some point because he's probably the next best player, is what we've kind of had the last few weeks, isn't it?
No, yeah, and I like I say, Jürgen's he'd really enjoyed this left back sub, right back sub at 60. He's been doing that a lot. Again, he could do that again. It could be that Matip comes on and Gomez shifts over. He can throw Milner to right back if he wants to as well. He has got options if he wants to do that, so he seems to enjoy doing that. Nunes for Bobby at some point seems like a no-brainer. Jota, you'd think, want to get on the pitch. I wonder if he wants to get half of some minutes. Obviously, he was on the bench for the derby, but obviously that was just a needs must. I don't think he was ever going to get on there, really. Do you think we might see his debut tonight?
I think if it's going well, we might see his debut tonight. I don't think it's likely that we see his debut tonight. I think it might be more of a 2-3-0 substitution rather than change the game.
Suppose he should know the opposition. He should know this competition. He's been playing in Italy. Well,
he hasn't the loosest terms. He never played against them last season at all, did he? He was a sub for one and injured for another. So I think it was like their version of the Community Shield or something, the Super Cup, wasn't it? That he maybe got 10 minutes in or something.
Only a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, so it's probably been over-egged how much he knows the opposition, but you still study the team, you still think about the team when you're playing them, so he'll be involved in team meetings and stuff, so in that way he does have a knowledge of them. Obviously they've had a little bit of, they're not the same side as they were last season either, so...
No, they've made plenty of changes. Liverpool, obviously, we've come up against Napoli absolutely loads over the last few years. It's a completely different Napoli, really. They've moved on from a few players. Mertens has moved on. Insigne moved on. There's no Koulibaly anymore. Ruiz has gone from midfield as well. So it is a completely different Napoli side. We're waiting for I haven't actually seen the Napoli team yet. Maybe they haven't announced it, but we'll try and bring that to you as soon as we can. I want to talk, mate, about Harvey Elliott. It feels at the moment he's undroppable.
Yeah, he's been brilliant.
He's been good. The rest of the midfield, I think they've all been rubbish. I don't think Fabinho's had a good season. I don't think Milner's been particularly great. I don't think Henderson's been particularly great. They're the only ones we've seen a lot of, really. Obviously, Carvalho gets the knock the other day. Liverpool at the moment, again, kind of tells you where we're at in midfield, that we're relying on a young lad, really. He goes away he's playing every game at the moment.
Yeah, and it's good for him.
It's great for him,
yeah, exactly. We saw this at the start of last season before he picks his injury up. The team trusts him. He doesn't get treated like a 19-year-old kid out on the field when he's with Salah and Firmino and Trent Alexander-Arnold. They give him the ball. When he starts moving and he starts picking passes out, he's starting to pull the strings a little bit here, and he's going to have to because there's no Thiago Alcantara, so he needed somebody to step up there. And it's from traditionally, obviously Thiago plays that left-hand side of the 3, doesn't he? So traditionally it's from a different area for us, but he's been able to do it really well, and it's when he can grab a game by the scruff of the neck, I think, and that's probably something where young, slight lads, quite small, technical, it's not something you think about when you think, normally it's a ball-to-ball, a box-to-box, ball winning midfielder that can kind of grab a game by the scruff of the neck. But Harvey can do it with the ball at his feet, which is quite an interesting sort of thought. And I love watching him play. He plays with he's sort of just when someone just sort of glides across the grass type of thing, and just his head's on a swivel all the time. He's always looking around. He seems to know where Mo is and stuff like that. I've really enjoyed it, and I really can't wait to see how he develops over the next few years.
You've got to remember, chat here, Stuart Armstrong been a first teamer for 20 months. Thank you, Stuart. Says let's try and not rely on Elliott again, folks. I was going to say, hello, Chris. Yeah, let's try and not rely on Elliott again, folks, he says. And
hey, hello, Si.
What's going on there, buddy?
It's that fucking TV guide button.
Yeah, well, we've got gremlins in the studio anyway. It looked like I was talking with you, man. We should have ventriloquist that one.
Oh, we should have, shouldn't we?
Really should. Anyway, I get the point from Stuart. Let's try and not rely on Elliot too much. That's the thing. It's like, I'm with you. I think he's great. But there's been a lot of pressure on him and he's dealt with it fairly well. I'm not sure though, Stuart, if we can't not rely on him. Because where else are we got? What are you relying on James Milner for in midfield and Fabinho? You're relying on them to be dogged and workman like that, aren't you? It's up to Harvey Elliott at the moment in time to be the creative force, to be the link between midfield and attack. Obviously, we actually bypass our midfield quite a bit. Trent ends up playing in there, for example, anyway. But I think you've got to rely on him. That's what he's in the team for at the moment. When there's no Thiago, when there's no Naby Keita, there's no Carvalho. Like, they're your creative midfield options. Curtis Jones perhaps falls into that as well. It's the Harvey Elliott show, isn't it, really? Because what else? Who else are you going to... You're asking James Milner to start playing through lines.
No, and I think it's going to be important for us until we get all of our players fit and back that we're still good on corners and set pieces and stuff, you know. How many goals against Bournemouth when we scored all of our goals came from those set pieces, and that's going to be massively important. Again, it's why I've liked the introduction of Chimicas late in games. I think he takes a better corner than Andy Robertson, to be honest with you. I think, I don't think Robbo's bad at corners by any stretch of the imagination. We get loads of stuff from his set pieces and corners, but Chimicas is just that little bit better for me. Virgil van Dijk's already got a goal this season. We've seen us getting closer and closer from set pieces. It feels like almost every time. So I think that's going to be key tonight against Napoli, because it's going to be tough for Harvey Elliott to create in Italy against Napoli. Yeah, you're absolutely right, mate. Speaking of the Napoli team, by the way, it is out in their 4-2-3-1 formation. I've got this up from BT Sport. They've even got a nice little graphic for me as well. Nice little graphic. Got Mere in goal, Di Lorenzo at right back, Kim and Rahami at centre back, Oliveira at left back, and midfield two of Lobotka and Anguissa. Politano actually starts on the right hand side, bit of a change. There's Zielinski and my mate, whose name I struggle with every single time. I'm going to call him Kvarat Shekila. I've been told just to call him Karava, which is what they're apparently calling him, which I'll do with. And Osimhen up front. He was an injury doubt, of course, but he's come back and made it, which is good for him, shame for us perhaps as well. But yeah, that's the Napoli team then. We expected pretty much because that he was going to do this 4-2-3-1/4-3-3 hybrid. They've turned Peter Zielinski into this like number 10 workman like midfielder, almost like it can become a 3 if they wanted to, but it's very much a 2-man defensive, and then ask the other 4 lads to go and attack. That means that Liverpool in midfield have got work to do, essentially, because it can become a 5, and this is what Everton did. I think Everton did this very well, is that then wingers very much become a straight line 5, and we struggled to play through that. We had to go wide a lot of times. Maybe Napoli have learned a thing or two, because he's played 4-3-3 this season. He's played a bit of 4-2-3-1. We're guessing it's back to that 4-2-3-1. Yeah, and if it is, it's going to be tough for us to break him down again. We've not got the most creative midfield. Fabinho and James Milner, and they're not exactly known for it, are they? Harvey Elliott obviously can do it. It's really about what Luis Diaz and Mo Salah can do. How do we get them the ball first and foremost? Are they going to play deep? Are they going to play high? They're probably going to play deep against us. They're going to sit back. They're going to try and soak up pressure. So the ball over the top's off straight off the bat. So how do you work Harvey Elliott or Bobby Firmino into that space in the middle of the park? Because if you can get Harvey Elliott moving one way and moving one of those DMs out to the wing, and Mo Salah maybe doing a sort of vertical run, then Bobby Firmino can come back into that space, maybe receive the ball from the right-sided centre back or the right back himself, and then you're looking to try and turn and break on them.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how Liverpool do try and break it down. I'm going to shout for maybe, says they just make up that name the way that Chloe's done for Kostas Tsimikas. Chloe's pronunciation.
You know what? I've heard her say it about 1,000 times. I can't tell you how she says it.
Tsimikas. She uses the T. Yeah.
Madness.
Yeah, she doesn't go silent T, she goes TS, like Tsimikas. Yeah, it's brilliant. I love Chloe.
Pronounce every letter, like film.
Yeah. I love Chloe. She's the absolute best. She's the scoutest person in the entire world. So yeah, that's it. It's more. Tis Mikas. That's how she says it.
There you go.
Yeah, Ames just reminded me. It is Tis Mikas. That's exactly what Chloe goes with. It makes me feel alive every time she says it. She's absolutely brilliant. I know this is. I hate saying this, Chris, but when we were talking about this more on the watch along, but like you mentioned before, the board, like a draw is a good result here. I hope heads don't fall off if Liverpool go to Napoli and draw. Our record there is have we scored a goal at any point in time?
Not in about 10 years.
We very often go to Naples and score a goal. We've been beaten a couple of times in recent occasions, even better Liverpool sides, well, in better form than this Liverpool side who went on to actually win stuff. So it is going to be a tough game. Again, they are a much changed team as well. But again, and a draw isn't a decent result.
A draw away to Napoli is a good result. not a decent result. Not the Scouse decent, which is what you meant. I'm going to say it for everybody to understand. It's a good result.
Yeah.
Especially with the way the things are going. I want more. I want Liverpool to win. I believe we've got the quality to do that if everything sort of starts to click and stuff. And I think, for me, if Liverpool get a win tonight, by hook or by crook, then that can kickstart us. That can give us that belief. And this is why this competition is so important to us, because we feel at home in this competition. We've had some good, stories and travels and stuff over the last few years. This squad has had that, and they've always fed off it. And that winning breeds winning mentality. It can be a crossover from Champions League to Premier League, and you just need something to kickstart. I thought Bournemouth would do it, but it wasn't enough. You know what I mean?
Newcastle should have done it.
A promoted side, Newcastle, should have done it, but it wasn't. Tough game at the weekend. Again, another game that we don't win a lot, a game that we draw a lot, and we went and drew it. If you're a betting man, I'd be betting on a draw here.
Yeah, you're right. I tend to get open wrong, like I say, but I'm with you. It would be a very good result if people can get a point tonight. Howdy, it's David. Howdy, David. There's $5 super chat says, I just wish everyone moaning about Milner would listen to Klopp's presses about player status. Arthur, Thiago are not match fit to start. This isn't hard. That's kind of the thing. Jürgen's picked the 3 midfielders who are fit. That's literally what he's done in this game. There's nobody else who can play 90 minutes, really. I know everyone's kicking off a little bit about Milner and Fabinho. There is nobody else. All the press conference, by the way, you can watch them all the time on our YouTube. In fact, you can go back and watch it after this if you want. Jürgen specifically says this thing. He says they are not ready to play 90 minutes. You can't start them, because what happens if they have to play 90 minutes? You can't do it.
It must be a wild ride for James Milner. Starts this pre-season, he comes back every year. Everyone loves him for the lactate test. By game week 3, everyone hates him. Yeah. Every year, and then actually, by the middle of the season, everyone starts to go, he can still do a fucking job, can't he? And you get to the end of the season, massively important for those last 5 minutes. James Milner, repeat cycle.
Everyone's he shouldn't be playing.
Yeah. No, he shouldn't.
He shouldn't be playing.
The plan was never for James Milner to start loads of games.
He took a pay cut because the plan was to reduce James Milner's minutes. He has to play because there's fuck all nobody else available.
It's FS, you get value for money again. We're going to tell you, we're going to play you less.
We're going to pay you less and then give you everything.
And then put you in the team every week. We're not going to sign a midfielder with the money that we saved on you. In fact, we're just going to laugh at you and watch you sweat.
It's a very conservative way of thinking. What they've done here is we're going to give you less money and make you do more work. It's fucking old. Yeah, I'm with you, man. But yeah, James Milner shouldn't be playing. Everyone's absolutely right, but there's nobody else. There literally is nobody else. He could have went 4-2-3-1, and I'm getting, if this was a home game against somebody, he might have done that. He might have just gone, fuck it, we'll just go Fabinho and Elliott. But
because there was talk, wasn't about Núñez and Firmino starting.
There was, but then who's you going to play? Then there's no way he should ever play Fabinho and Elliott as a two-man midfield ever again.
So he was still starting in that scenario.
Milner was playing that team as well. He was always playing. Anyone who's shocked or surprised that James Milner's been picked, I can't help you, because he was always going to be playing this game. Just absolute nailed on certainty to be on this one. Right then, kick off for Liverpool, obviously versus Napoli, is in about 56 minutes time by my watch. Would you concur, Mr. Pajak?
56 and 25 seconds.
There we go. So we will go live at 7:45 for the game. Come and join us for the watch along for that one. In the meantime, between this show ending and, of course, us coming back for the watch along, you're probably going to need something to watch, something to enjoy. Maybe while you have a little bite to eat, have a little drink or whatever you're up to. So
just something to watch on your phone while you have a big shit.
Yeah, or that. Yeah, absolutely. Go fill your boots or fill the toilet. Whatever you're going to do. Anyway, if you need something to watch between this show and the watch along starting, last fan standing is out now.
You've got time to kick off on the screen over there.
56 minutes exactly. You were right. Yeah, it is actually 55 minutes, 58 now. Anyway, back to it. Last fan standing. The latest episode is out now. Paul was back on the show as well. Yeah, check out this little clip from there and we'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Again, I'm going to say VAR. I can't have it no more. It is ruining the game of football. It is not fact. Let's get this out in the open now. VAR is not fact. It's fact when it's goal line technology, but when decisions come, free kicks, penalties, handballs, it's a decision of a ref. And what they're doing now is making a decision go to another ref. And it's what's happening is you've got the inexperienced referees that are refereeing the games now to the old ones that are, and they're too scared to make decisions. It is absolute farce now. I'm not enjoying, I'm going to be really honest now, I am not enjoying watching games of football, not because of winning, losing, whatever. I am not enjoying it because of VAR. It's stopping the game. When you go to games, you're having to, no one knows what's happening. They're on TV, they're watching it 15, 16 times, they're slowing it down, everything like that. It's not football no more, guys. My game is being ruined by one reason only, VAR.
There you go. VAR has been in the news a lot, and obviously Lee Judge
Get it in the bin!
Lee is not very happy with it. Like I say, that whole show is streaming now, available on YouTube. So if you click the link in the description when we end, go across there, watch it. Tell them we sent you as well. Paul's on there giving his thoughts on a few topics, including Liverpool, and of course,
Tell them that we sent you, and tell Lee to stop crying.
There you go. In the comments section, go over there now and say, Chris Pajak sent me from the Redmen. He said, Lee, shut up. I'm just shit staring a little bit here. Absolutely.
I like it.
Yeah, no,
do it.
Yeah.
Do it now.
Go and do it. Absolutely fully. But right then, come back and join us at 1:45, whatever hour that is, in whatever part of the world you're living in. We will be live for the entire game, Napoli versus Liverpool. Mute your TVs. We'll commentate. We've got you covered at every single angle. And most importantly, we'll be biased as well. We'll cheer when we score and we'll boo when we don't. So yeah, do come back and join us in about 53, take away 15, 48 minutes time. We'll see you then. See you in a bit.
Thank you so much for watching. If you want to continue the conversation, then head over to Redmen Plus. Join as a club legend and get access to our Discord chat. It's got us in, and it's got loads of amazing like-minded Reds. There's a no knob policy in there, so where you won't have that on social media, you will have it over on the Redmen Plus Discord. It's full of sound people. Come and join us.